What is up? Let's go ahead and jump right into how you can actually calculate your own macros. And if you want to stick around to the end, I will be talking about my starting point for my series, Shredding for Summer. I'll be going over my cardio, my training, my macros, and more importantly, the reasoning behind all of it. So hopefully you can understand fat loss a little bit more as you go through your own fat loss journey. If you want to follow along for the next 12 weeks and see how I make adjustments when I hit plateaus or roadblocks, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and without further ado, let's get into it. To do these calculations, you'll need a paper or a notepad, but also a calculator. And trust me, I am the worst at math. I bring dishonor to my family. If I could do it, you can do this, and I will take you step by step through this process. So let's go ahead and dive into the iPad. If you want to learn more about macros and calories, you can actually check out my beginner's diet plan. I will leave that linked in the description, but for the sake of this example and calculating your macros, what you're gonna need to know is this right here. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. So to start off, right here we have a 165-pound Charizard. That is the example we are going to be using later on. But how do we actually find your macros? To start off, to calculate your macros, you will need to find your total calories. And to do that, you would just multiply your goal body weight by 12. And by goal body weight, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to hit that. Another word people use is lean body mass, but if you don't know how to calculate that, just use your goal body weight and that will give you your total calories. Next, we're gonna figure out how much grams of protein we should be eating. And to do that, we're gonna take our goal body weight and multiply that by 0.8 to 1.2. So this range is gonna vary a lot. And I will say, if you are not used to eating a lot of protein, I would start out at the lower end and slowly work your way up. There are a lot of factors deciding how much protein you should be eating. If you are leaner, you will need a little bit more protein, so you'll be on the higher end. If you have more body fat to lose, you're totally cool sticking to the 0.8 or lower end. So for my example later on, I'm actually just gonna go right in the middle and do 1 gram. So that is how you're gonna figure out how much protein you should actually be eating. So the next thing we're gonna do is find how much fat we will be eating. And to do that, you're gonna take your total calories and multiply that by 0.2 to 0.3. And that's actually gonna give you your fat calories. If you are a little bit confused right now, don't worry, I'm gonna do an example with you guys so you can kind of see this when the numbers are there. So once you have your fat calories, you're going to actually divide that by 9, because remember, 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. So that's how you're gonna find your grams of fat. Now, lastly, we're gonna actually calculate or find the grams of carbohydrates we will be having. So to do that, you're gonna take your total calories, so right here up top, and then you're gonna subtract your fat calories and your protein calories. And to find your protein calories, what you're gonna do is times your grams of protein by 4, because remember, 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, right? So that's gonna give you your carbohydrate calories, and all you're gonna do then is divide that by 4, because again, 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories. Let's actually plug this in and use this 165-pound Charizard as the example. All right, now that we're gonna do a little bit of math, I have my calculator right here. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. 165 pounds, this Charizard wants to get down. That's the Charizard's goal body weight. So what we do is we multiply 165 times 12 to find our calories. And that comes out to 1980. All right, so after that, what we're figuring out is how much protein we should be eating. And I'm gonna go right in the middle between 0.8 and 1.2, and that's gonna be 165 grams of protein, right? So now what we're trying to figure out is our fat calories, right? Or ultimately the grams of fat. So what we're gonna do is multiply total calories, so 1980 up top, times 0.2, and that's gonna give us 396. I also forgot to fill this in, my bad. So right here, a 1980 times 2.2 equals 360 96. Excuse me, can't talk. And now we're gonna find the grams of fat. So what we're gonna do is take 396, divide that by 9, and that is going to 9 equals 44 grams of fat. So currently we have 165 grams of protein, 44 grams of fat, and now lastly we're gonna figure out our carbohydrate intake. So what we're gonna do is take total calories, so 1980 minus fat calories, so right here, I've been mixing that up, 396, and subtract by protein calories. And remember, to find that, we're gonna take 165 times 4, because 1 gram of protein has 4 calories, and that's gonna equal out to 660. So this is going to be 660, and that comes out to minus 396 minus 660 equals 924. So 924 calories are coming from carbohydrates, and to find how many grams of carbohydrates, we're going to divide that 924 by 4. So divide that by 4, and that is going to be 231 grams of carbs. Oops. So now we have total calories up here at the top. We also have how much protein we will be eating. We have how much fat we will be eating. And then we also have our carbohydrates that we will be eating. And that's it. That's how you calculate your calories and macros for fat loss. And if you thought this was valuable, please consider smashing that like button. Supposedly it helps the YouTube algorithm help me out, but let's get into the rest of the video. This is my physique starting point. On the right, you see me trying to flex, and on the left is me relaxed. My starting weight was 183.2. Usually when I go on a fat loss phase, I don't put a time frame. This is actually the first time that I'm doing something with a time frame, the 12-week series. So there's a few key differences in my mindset going into this, because when I normally do things, there's a lot more flexibility. I can eat a lot more foods. I can be a little bit more relaxed. I don't have to do like the cardio. Like there's so many things that come into play when you're trying to, you know, when you have a set date to achieve something versus when you really don't. And I caught myself, I will say I'm much better than I would have been in the past, but I caught myself falling into the trap of, oh, I'm starting on Monday, I better just start eating all the things that I love, because that's not gonna be happening. And you know, I did have a pizza. I ordered Domino's yesterday and I had it, but because I was a little bit more aware and I've been doing this for so long, I caught myself. Right, so that I would say is one of the key differences in my mindset going into it. And I think if you are giving yourself a time frame to do something, there is something to be said about accomplishing that goal. But if you generally want long-term fat loss, I would say go into it. Don't put a time frame on it. Take your time, make small changes. Don't be in such a big calorie deficit. You know, focus on the basics: sleep, water, training 2 to 3 times a week, get your steps up, all of these things, and I promise you that will lead to long-term weight loss. But because I am more advanced, I'm a coach, I'm doing a version of carb cycling. I have it right here on my little post-it note. So on my training days, I'm doing 200 grams of protein, 260 carb, and 40 fat. And that comes out to 2,200 calories. And on my non-training days, I'm eating 200 grams of protein, 220 carb, and 40 fat. And that comes out to 2,040 calories. So really the only difference is the carbohydrate intake. And I want to keep protein really, really high, because when you are in a fat loss phase, when you are eating in a calorie deficit, you will be more prone to losing total weight, but it's not all body fat. You will break down a little bit of muscle tissue, and that's what we want to prevent as much as possible. And you can do those. Two of the biggest ways to do that, there's 3: sleep, getting enough protein, eating high protein, and making sure to resistance train. And this is actually my first time eating such low fat. I'm used to a little bit of higher fat content, but supposedly that's very regular in the bodybuilding community. I have a coach that's helping me with my macros and stuff as I go through this journey, because I truly believe that everyone should have a coach. I strongly believe that. I have a business coach. I've hired coaches for myself on my own personal journey. It's actually the fastest way to achieve the things you want to achieve, right? So if you've ever thought about getting a coach or getting some help, do your research. Make sure that that person actually understands what they're doing. But I think that that is a way to really speed up your progress with anything. As for my training, I will be doing 3 days of full body training. And my cardio is not really cardio, but just a way to get more active and to get consistent activity. So that's actually just going to be a 2-mile walk fasted in the morning. That is what I'm programmed. But I probably won't be doing that every single day just because of my schedule. I am going to be getting the 2-mile walk in, but it's not always going to be in the morning. And there's a lot of benefits for actually going on walks in the morning. If you can do that before work, whatever it is, I would highly suggest it, because it's not only good for increasing your activity, but it reduces stress. And also you can get some sunlight on your body, in your eyes, and that will help with your sleep quality dramatically. And that's it. If you have any questions about figuring out your own macros or starting your own journey, or even if you have questions about what I'm doing, drop them down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I'm excited for this series. Again, this is the first time that I'm doing something with a time frame, so this is going to be a new experience for myself, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. And yeah, I'll be posting an update every single week throughout this journey, kind of explaining what I'm going through, how I'm feeling, what I do for plateaus, what adjustments we make, and just keep you along on the journey. So I love you. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.